Alright, hey y'all. I realize it's been a little while since I made a video, so I'm sitting here. I'm a little early for Eli's parkour class. I came right from work, so I thought I would make a video while I'm just sitting here in the parking lot. So, yeah, I wanted to share some reflections I've had. I've been at this job for 4 months now, and I've been stealth the whole time. Nobody in the company knows I'm trans, and that's pretty clear based on some of the conversations that have been had around me, that nobody knows, which is a different experience than I've ever had before. I mean, I wasn't outward with it when I had my own company or when I worked for Eric, but obviously Eric knew, and some of the realtors knew when I was first starting out, because I was young, and that's when I was more into the activism stuff. But certainly as I worked for myself and stuff like that, I became very private about that kind of thing. But if it was the right person, I would kind of open up about it. But now it's very much not something I want to share with people. And it's just been really interesting because I've never really been full stealth. Obviously working at Teetotaler, that was a super queer safe space. Everybody knew everybody was queer, It's kind of the complete polar opposite to go from queer oasis work to cis het world work. So today I had a client who was a stereotypical gay guy with a very effeminate voice, and just picture the typical skinny scrawny guy with with the kind of gay voice and the higher pitch, and he kind of, I can't even imitate his voice. It's very it was very high. It was a very high voice. And a couple of the guys after, we were just talking before we all left, and one of them was so you think that one of those guys used to be a girl? And I was just standing there that's me, literally. And then the other guy was yeah, every time he talked, I thought it was the realtor talking, because it was a lady realtor. And it was just really, really interesting to just be standing there as the literal definition of the person they're trying to guess. Right there, it's yeah, that, I used to be a girl 10 years ago. But there's no suspicion of that, it's just so interesting. And this person absolutely was just an effeminate man. There was no suspicion of transness at all. And also if he used to be a girl, if that was legitimately what happened, then he would have taken testosterone and had a deep voice and looked like me. So it's I can tell that it comes from an undereducated place of they obviously have an assumption of what a trans person looks like or acts like or talks like or appears like. Because similarly, a different couple of guys were on a job, and it was a queer couple, an interracial queer couple, a black guy and a trans man. And I could just tell right away that the husband was trans. He was clearly earlier in transition. I could tell he was wearing a binder. He had little scraggly facial hair, little goatee kind of thing. And, he just had bigger hips, the same things about me that I'm always kind of aware of. And so I could just tell, I put the pieces together that, okay, you're not cis. And they had pride flags and all this and that on their cars. So, they sent us a really great review talking about how one of my coworkers had asked the partner's pronouns, and they were really happy about that. It made them feel really safe and secure. But so Wayne was, I shouldn't have said his name, but whatever. Wayne was retelling the story in our inspector meeting, and he was yeah, I could tell that the person was not the gender maybe that they were presenting as, but he was assuming that this guy was going from male to female. He was I could tell that he was transitioning. And it was just funny because I was and he the way he was describing it, which I can't remember exactly how he said it now because it was a month ago, but he said it in a way where he clearly assumed that the person was going from male to female when this person was a trans man, going female to male. So it's just funny, I can just tell that these guys, a cis-het guy is not going to have a lot of queer knowledge just in their regular life. And so that's been interesting because I just was like, I mean, his heart was in the right place. He knew that, hey, I should ask pronouns because I'm not sure about this person's gender. And like, it made people feel so safe and like welcome and stuff. And like, I can tell that he's like a progressive kind of person, but also just like undereducated. Some of the other guys, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I know some of them listen to Joe Rogan because they talk about it, and like some of the commentary that gets made where it's like, I don't think this is like this is definitely not like a safe environment for me to be like publicly out, nor is it like necessary. Like, I show up, I do my job, I do what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things what my genitals are, you know, like, who gives a shit? But it's just been interesting to kind of like overhear some of these conversations and like, you know, be stealth in that way where like they're not thinking about it because they just think we're all alike, you know. So it's been interesting, and then I can just tell that it's like they're like close but not really. It's like part of me's like, I want to blow all your minds and say, hey, I'm trans, so that they can like connect the dots to like a trans person is not at all what you think they are, you know, like to switch the lens of like, you know, that kind of thing where it's like a skinny straight or a skinny like cisgender gay man is not someone who used to be a woman. Like, he's just like an effeminate gay man, that's all. So it's just been really interesting to kind of like navigate that. And you know, every time we're talking about like the baby and like people ask about stuff at work and they're like, oh, was it your first biological kid? And I'm like, yeah, you know, because they know I have a stepson. So it's just like, you know, it's just like interesting to like be flying under the radar in that way. Like, I mean, I like it. I feel very secure and like not worried, but there is always like a part of me that's like kind of worried that someone might figure it out. Like, not that they would figure it out from something I'm doing, but like if they decided to look me up, that's where I get nervous. But I don't think that anyone has, hopefully. So that's where it's at. Otherwise, things are going well. It's been busy. It's been fucking hot. But I'm still glad like I made the choice. And I have been hearing a lot of things about Rowls like out in the field where they are just like not good at what they do inspection wise. I'm not saying anything about the repair world, but even hearing from guys, like I had these like trainees with me for a couple of times. They were all from a septic company in the area, and they were saying that Rowls is not that good. So it's like between realtors and the clients and like other people in the field, they're all saying steer clear of them. So I feel like I did dodge a bullet, and like the purpose of me connecting with Rowls, that guy, was for that guy to connect with Kurt and for Kurt to call me, you know. So right now I'm really happy with where things are at, and starting to feel, you know, getting into a good flow with things. The last few months have been pretty busy, so yeah, that's the update. Being stealth in the workplace is definitely a new thing for me, and yeah, but I'm not really that worried about it. It's been really, really fucking interesting to listen to these conversations, you know, about queer topics in a room full of people who think everybody's, you know, like, because like even one of the guys was reading the review out loud, and it was written by the one husband in this gay couple with the trans guy, and he kept saying, and then she says, because the person's referring to my husband and this and that, and it's just the bias of, oh, if this person says husband, it must be a wife that's saying it, so now I have to say, and then she says this, because he was kind of trying to like pluck it and summarize it because it was really long. So it was just funny the way that he just kept like putting the she on there, even though it was a man talking about another man, you know. So it's just like interesting to be in this group of people that don't have a lot of queer like infiltration in their lives, you know. So yeah, anyway, that's all I got today. Hope you guys are having a great week, and I'll talk to you next time.